to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here today with block 6 of the In a New York Minute, or In a New York Beauty Minute. And this is the block we're doing here today. So you're going to find that PDF in the show notes below. So, but first, before we get to any sewing, let's talk about what's going on here. Quilt Bingo is going to start about 3 weeks after Spring Fling with Strings is done, so it should be coming up really quickly. Today is actually July 4th, and we're going to be filming 2 episodes out of Quilt Bingo. One a refresher and one to actually get started. I'm kind of excited about that. Also, we have all the Zoom sew days from now until the end of the year on our YouTube channel, and those are just so much fun. You guys have got to, if you like Zoom, you got to come try and hang out with us, because those days are fun. I try and pick something easier so I can join in the conversation and laugh and giggle with everybody else. Also, share, like, and subscribe, make comments, and share, like, and subscribe our shout out. Because our shout out today is Sunbeam Fabric Art with Annete. Like, Annete owns that channel, and she's doing a lot of fun things over on her channel. So go check her out and share, like, and subscribe her stuff too, right? Make comments on her, give her some words of encouragement. Also, we have a Facebook group, and we host a virtual sewing room under Discord, and we have all sorts of fun community chats going on, and we have fabric exchanges by country to keep the postal costs down. And we're just having a ball in there as well. There's lots going on in that Facebook group, and we're having a lot of fun. Also, I speak for free to quilting groups and quilting guilds. So if your guild or group is looking for elements of design, working with scrap fabrics, or making charity quilts, please give me an email or a message on Facebook, because I'm a little faster on Facebook than I am on email. And just let me know that when your group needs me, and I'll try and make an accommodation to come chat to your group. Also, if you guys find shout outs, now the shout outs have to be quilting related, like quilting only. If they're doing quilting, baking, canning, you know, all this other, no. If it's only quilting that they're doing, quilting and some sewing, some small project sewing, you know, not a lot, then this is the person I want to talk to you guys about. So if you find somebody like that, let me know. Especially the smaller channels have such a hard time getting started, and sometimes they're very talented, and you just like to see them succeed and get ahead. So that's the other thing. I think that's it. So come on in, let's get to the sewing of block 6, or In a New York Beauty Minute, and we're going to have some fun with this today. Okay, we're at the sewing machine. Now, tape is your friend. When you're doing foundation paper piecing, it's always your friend. And this is why you need tape very close at hand. You need a paper scissor to cut out your pattern. And we've already gotten all the trimming done, right? Like, we trimmed all the fabric and that. So you're going to need fabric shears at some point here. Just line all this up. And I got my husband to do all the tracing wheel marks on the back of the paper. So it creates little dots so I know where to fold and where this, you know, these little things end. And it's such a godsend to be able to do that and get all those little points correct and all this. So there's that. And of course, you're at a quarter ruler, your rotary cutter, a cutting mat, and I've already cut out the little bit that goes in the thing. Now, I've cut mine a little big. I leave my edges a little big because I can cheat. I then can cheat a little, so that's always really good. Now, you'll notice on these New York Beauties, they're not numbered. Because if you start in the middle, you can work out both ways. If you start on one side, you can work right across. It's up to you how you want to do this. If you start here, you can't start here and then try and meet in the middle. That's not going to work. So once you make your pattern where all your pieces are fitting together, this should all work. Now, I've already laid out where the purple goes, where the orange goes, and where the green goes. So we are going to do this. It's going to be a little bit fast, but that's okay. Now, last time I showed you guys how to do this by basting. Well, I'm going to show you a different way how to connect these two later once they're finished. I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, let's get to this part here. So the first thing I'm going to pull off is the purple. And I'm going to pull the purple here, and the orange comes in right behind it. And yes, I've just shredded, or you know, cut and tore my fabric because there's a little wobbly edge there. Yes, you can do that. It's allowed. It is allowed. Now I'm going to start in the middle. So the purple is on top, and I want a 1/4 inch seam. So as long as this 1/4 inch seam is there, that is just going to work beautifully, right? So there we go. And I'm going to change feet because I got the wrong foot. I like sewing with a 1/4 inch foot when I'm doing a 1/4 inch foot, but one of these straight stitch feet, I have a little bit more visibility, so that I prefer them for foundation paper piecing, and this just works out beautifully for me. So let's get this under. Now I've got the right sides are together. Yes, they are. So I started the edge. Now my stitches are short, my needle is sharp, and I hold it, and then I go across right to the other side. Then hold it again so it doesn't move. So what I'm doing is I'm making a little knot, right? That's really important, that you make little knots. Now I'm going to do the next one. Okay, and the orange is on top. The orange is first, the green is second. So I just didn't have a full fat 1/4 of green, but I really like this green and I wanted to use it. So there he is. There it is. So let's get this orange lined up. There we go. And we're just going to lie this down on top. And, oops, where is it? This is kind of an unfortunate placement of paper, but that's the best we can do right now. Okay, so it's a little big, but it'll work. It'll work. All right, make sure I've got good coverage. Yes, I do. Okay, here we go. We're going to put this one in right behind it. Hold it, as you see it. Okay, and then proceed to sew. Now my stitches are 25 to 30 stitches an inch, and I think that's a 1 or 2 on these modern machines. I'm not sure. As you can tell, I don't know much about modern machines because that's the way it is. That's the way we roll. So that's, now that's a pretty decent 1/4 inch, so I'm not even going to trim it, right? Your 1/4, even though you're doing these foundation paper pieced blocks, as long as you've got kind of a decent 1/4 inch, you don't have to worry about it, right? You don't have to worry about it at all. Now, this is an odd angle, so I'm just going to cut like that. And now I'm going to cut the other side so I know where my purple ends. There we go. Basically, you're making your first there. All right, here we go. Move that off. Now, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to take the orange here, and I'm going to lay this right across. Oops, which probably shouldn't be a wobble in that seam. Oops, I'm just going to trim that off because otherwise it's going to wobble on top, right? So we're just going to go like this, just like so, and put this down. And I'm going to cut this big tail off because I don't need it. There we go. And put that in with the pet beds because it's too small for anything else. Okay. And line this up. Hold it until, there we go, right along. There, hold it again as soon as you get to the other end. Now I'm going to continue doing the same thing. Now some of you are going, what did you do here? So there's a great big seam there, and I can take the opportunity to trim it if I want, which I will, because it will help reduce bulk in the blanket, or I can leave it because it's kind of my choice at this point, right? Now I'm going to flip this over, and I'm only going to get one piece of green out of this little odd shape. Okay, but that's okay. There we go. And now I can go either way. I'm just going to trim this off so I can do my next piece of orange. Now this green that I'm trimming off is not big enough for another piece. At least I don't think it is. No, it's not. So that's going to go in my crumb bin. Right? Because I don't throw out stuff. If it's still good enough to use somewhere else, I make sure that happens. Okay, now, there we go. Okay, let's get it like that. Turn this around just like so. Come on. This is where tape is your friend. My stitches are so close. It won't let me pull them open. Okay, so now a couple ways you can cut this. You can cut it like this, right? Just straight across, right? And then cut it like this, right? That's up to you how you want to do this, right? This piece here would go into my crumb bin. This little green bit here, I'll just rip off and throw it into the pet bed bag because I don't throw stuff away. Right, so I save all my little bits. So I'm going to add another piece of green and just trim all that up. Okay, and I'm going to add another little piece of green, and that green is going right there. Okay, now I could keep going on this for a while, but I think you guys have got the idea, right? That, you know, it's a sew, trim, press, repeat, or, you know, sew, press, trim, repeat, you know, over and over again, right, on this part. The thing that gets people kind of with their knickers in a knot is the curved piecing of the foundation paper piecing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim this one last piece here, and I'm going to show you. Then I'm going to cut, then I'm going to come back when all of this foundation paper piecing is finished. And then you can see exactly what this is going to look like when it's all done. Because otherwise this video is going to be forever. Forever and ever and ever. And we don't want that. We want you guys to have, you know, a good time, enjoying yourselves. And this is what we want for you. So I'm going to cut here and I'm going to come back as soon as I finish doing all the foundation paper piecing. All right, see you soon. Okay, as you can see, we got all of this managed and we've got all of this taken. Now, what I did is I left an extra 1/4 inch around the outside edges, like here on the big piece, on the outside. That gives me a little wiggle room, just in case my 1/4 inch isn't exactly perfect. I can still match up everything, right? So that's kind of important to do. Now, so this is how, just a minute here, let's get this all settled up. Oh, this is, okay, let me get this off. Ow. Yes, let me get all the pattern up. So you can see all the colors that are going on in here. Maybe got some fun tulip pink in here. This is just really cute. But anyway, so here we go. Let's get some of this done. Now, there's different ways. Again, we're just sewing around the curve, right? So this part here matches up with this part here. And like I say, I have a 1/4 inch overhang. So I want all of that to match up. And I only need like 3 stitches to hold it in place. Now I'm going to not use my 1/4 inch foot here because I have good line of sight here. So with this foot, and I'm just gonna make sure I've got this. Now when we get to this first corner, this is when we start pushing. I'm pushing this way and pushing that this way, right? So we've kind of got this pie thing, and I'm going to show you a trick that some people do when they're doing the joining these 2 bits together, these 2, right? Because there's another way of doing it. There's a bunch of different ways. In quilting, there's a bunch of different ways of skinning a cat. Not only one way is the right way. I mean, there are some ways that we tell people, whatever you do, learn as many ways as possible, especially when you're working with your scraps. You never know what you have to come across or what you have to do to make this work, right? So it's always good to have a few different ideas on how to do things. So, and of course, sewing curves is the exception. For years, I sewed curves the other way because it just made more sense to me, right? Because then that was the way it went. It was just like, okay, so this is the only way it's gonna go, but okay. But, and you can see here now, just gonna pull this off. Okay, oops, hang on, there we go. Now you see, this curve didn't work out perfect, but that's okay, because now I can just straighten this. This will probably iron out very, very flat, and it will be fine, right? So we're gonna leave this one now. We're gonna do this one, and, okay. So we got the top pie, oops, we'll move this out of the way, here, and this here, and we'll see how well we do. Yeah, sewing curves sometimes is, I have to be in the right mood. Now, when you have the paper on the bottom, sometimes you have slippage. Slippage is not fun. Slippage is not fun, but it happens. And the curves that are larger are always easier to sew. We are not getting into any really complex New York Beauties, because New York Beauties is a type of block. Basically, it's sewn a quarter circle, and it's sewn with foundation paper piecing. That's basically a New York Beauty. And there's a whole bunch of different blocks that different designers have made. They're all stunning. They're just like, wow factor is right through the roof. And yeah, there's a bunch of them. Now you could also have, you know, bent your 1/4 inch marks in, you know, or your halfway marks, your 1/4 way marks, you know. You could have done all that too, right? I mean, there's several different ways, you know. Some are much better than others. Okay, and now there we go, and we're just here. There we go, and we're just turning that corner just like so, and you can see here this didn't quite match up again, and it's because the bottom is slipping. Right now I've got like a good 1/4 inch over on this side, but nothing over on that side. That's okay, because I put a cheat in. I did put the cheat in, and I put it in for a reason. Because sometimes you have slippage and sometimes you don't, and you're better off to have a built-in cheat so your blocks will look okay than to have something that, gee, that looks terrible. Okay, now you have, what you have left is these two, and they, you know, they're kind of crazy, and yeah, there's a lot going on there. Now you could base this, yes, you could. The other thing you could do is you can just cut out the paper. You can take the paper right out. Now, when you're taking this paper out, you cannot stretch it. This now is at its most vulnerable once that bias edge is most vulnerable, because you've taken the paper out. And I had a poverty piece one on top of it to boot, so there's even more. So there we go. Now, we can take out this paper as well, because this is not serving us either, and it's easy enough to take out. Oops, there. You can see how fast these come apart too, right? Okay. Now we can do this. I prefer, when I'm doing foundation paper piecing, to do the stay stitching. That way I know it's not, my outer edge is not stretching, right, when I take the paper out. And that may become problematic here, but we'll see. We'll be gentle, and we'll see how much stretching actually has happened, and hopefully we won't have too much. Okay, we'll put that over to the side for the garbage, and Flip that back, and now we're going to do this side as well. I know you're saying, why did you take the paper off to begin with? Because, okay, there we go. There we go. Let's get all that off. Oops. Yeah, see, now you're not going to be able to do any kind of pulling either. This will not work well if you pull. This will not work out at all if you start pulling around your edge. So, and it doesn't take long to take the paper out because you shorten your stitch line, right? That's always a big bonus. Now, okay, I'm just going to remove this, the orange pieces as well, because that makes it a little quicker. There we go. There. Okay. Oh, oops. I don't want to manhandle it too much either, right? And you've got a 1/4 inch cheat at the end, which is fine. And that 1/4 inch cheat is just nice to have. There we go. I'll pull all of that off. And that comes off pretty quick where you sewed the end or the corner in. There we go. Now, okay, let's get all of that off. Come on, come on. There we go. Now, get all of this to the side and put it in the garbage later. Okay, so we're putting this piece with this piece. Okay, now, you can see we already have a 1/4 inch issue here and here, right? But we don't have anything here. So this is where, like, when you line these all up, this is where this line is going to be just right on the money. So we want to pin here. I would like to pin just because these points have to match up, right? So now you're going to match points here too, right? So pinning, removing the paper and pinning is okay. If you need to do that to make your perfect points, by all means, please do. You know, it's okay to have to do that. But you want to take just the littlest bite. The littlest bite. You don't want to take a great big bite. You want to take the littlest bite right at the tip and put it right in at the tip. Oh, come on. There you go. And you want to take the littlest bite that you can. Make sure that lines up. Here we go. Ooh, come on. Oh, this thing is not doing a little bite. There we go. And then the littlest bite here, and the littlest bite a 1/4 inch down here. And you want to make sure that lines up nice and neat on the square, or as best you can on the square. And the littlest bite you can. And you can also put pins in between, right? You can put them in between. That's also a really good way, but just want to take the tiniest little bite because this has to have room to maneuver, right? And I know that's not what everybody's going, oh God, there's so much pinning. No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You're doing one block. And there are far more complex New York beauties out there. And, you know, if you just take your time to do this one little thing, this block turns out absolutely stunning. So let's get that. Now the other side we're going to do right away. Because it's easier to do it now than have it under the needle and trying to fight with it. Right? Because nobody wants to do that. There we go. And there. There. And a 1/4 inch down. A 1/4 inch down. Straight down. Right on the line. A 1/4 inch down. Straight down on the line. There you go. And match that line up. Right. Here we go. The littlest, oops. The littlest bite. And now we're going to pin in between. There we go. There, right on the 1/4 inch. And what you're going to do is, you know, you try not to sew over your pins, but you try to make your, you know, get up right up close to your pins so you don't lose that little bite that was taken. So now that you've got this is what you're going to do. Okay. So this, hopefully this didn't take too long for you guys, but yeah. Now, you want to start this off so it's nice and straight. Nice and straight. Yep. Okay. There we go. Hold our thread. Okay. I'm going to leave this right here because I need to know where that is. Okay. And you don't have much fiddling to do now all of a sudden because everything's in place. So sometimes these older techniques really work well, you know. Another technique you could try is as you're sewing, right? As you're sewing, you start from one end, and then the other piece you start, okay, like for this side you start at this end, and then this piece here, the shorter piece, you start at this end. This way your seams will nest as you're sewing them together like this. That's another way to remove some bulk out of curves as you're sewing them. Okay, there we go. Just get around, come on. Get right up to that needle. Here we go, pull the needle. Pull the needle with the needle down. Okay, there we go. Because that's a nice way of doing it too, right? Like when you start at one end on one side, you sew from left to right on the one piece, and then right to left on the other, and then your seams, when you're doing foundation paper piecing, your seams will match. And that's a really good way of doing things as well, right? Because you don't have a bunch of excess bulk, and what bulk is there is being distributed in the seam. Okay, there we go. Just like you would on a 4-patch. Ugh. You should try it sometime. That's kind of a cool way of, there we go. Oh, come on. There we go. And whatever happens, don't pull. Don't pull. Oh, please don't pull. Because that pulling would be bad. Okay, there we go. Last pin. Then you go out through that edge. And I don't even have a leader ender here. Oh well, that's okay. I'll just pull this out. Now, this edge you see lines up, right? Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to see which way this line's flattest, this seam right here, because it might lie flattest if I open it, because I started from both points in the middle, so now all the points are now bucking up on each other. So I might have to press open, and if I have to press open, the top seam, this top seam here for this one, gets clipped because it needs a little more room. Now I'm just going to give it a quick finger press this way, just to make sure that that might lay flatter, and if it does, that's what we have to do. Yeah, it will. It'll lie flatter if I press open. And that means clipping the top, but not the bottom. And you can clip both if you really want to, but there's no need for it. And what I'm saying is clipping, you're only putting like, you know, 4, and then at the seam, and then another 4 right up to the seam, but not through the stitch line in the middle. Oh dear. Okay, yeah, there it worked. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's going to do is it's going to provide a little bit of ease in this seam, the top seam here, right? So that's another way of doing these rounded foundation paper piece seams, right? So I'm hoping this helps, because some people are afraid to do them because they're curves and they're foundation paper piecing. Well, you see right here, right now, this is the way I did it. Now with this seam here, it would lie flatter if it was all going this way. I should be also clipping the purple, right? Just to give it a little bit more ease, and it will lie flatter. But I think, yeah, I'm going to give it a few little clips here and there just to make it lie just a hair flatter, and that will make a whole big difference on the block when I go to press it. So anyways, so I'll give it a good press and give it a square it up, and we'll get to our big ta-da moment. Okay, so here we are with our New York Beauty, block number 6. This is coming into kind of a cool, crazy palette color, but we've got 6 blocks here now. And yes, I use fat quarters, but I have scraps. I have saved scraps. So some of those other colors now might be reappearing in block 7 through 12, right? So it'll be kind of fun, but we've got a whole bunch of things going on here. And yes, I should probably take the paper off some of these because, you know, they're still there. But yeah, it was kind of a fun thing so far to do. I hope you guys are trying these out. And there's different techniques you can use to sew curves, right? So you pick the one that's going to work for you. I mean, that's what it basically comes down to. Like some people can just sew curves together without, you know, they move them together and they're done. Sometimes your feed dogs aren't really clean. One drags, one pulls. Yeah, you know, so you kind of have to figure it out, right? And every machine is a little different, and every foot is a little different too. So you have to kind of keep all that in mind. And there's the old joke about you got to hold your tongue right too. So anyways, I do hope you're giving these a try. These are very simple New York beauties too, right? Like there's some very, very beautiful complicated ones, but we're not going to do that because we don't want to scare away all the beginners. So anyways, I hope you have an absolutely magnificent week ahead and life is treating you very grandly. Okay, you take care until we see each other again. All right, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life and, you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your life and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.